Welcome to this episode of Locked In. In this episode, I'm going to be doing my full breakdown of what exactly I'm going to be carrying and how I'm going to be carrying it for my epic San Francisco to Los Angeles Hollywood sign 550-mile bike ride that I'm going to be doing. So if that's something you want to watch, please stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down first what bags I'm bringing, then what I actually am carrying in them. I'm actually going to unload my saddlebag for you live on this video. And basically, I've been training on this bike as is, like fully loaded. Every weekend ride and every road ride that me and Mario have been doing have been fully stocked just to prepare and get used to how the bike handles and the weight difference, so we can get used to climbing weighted as well as bike handling weighted. And if you've been following me on Instagram, you've been seeing this bike basically just like this for the last few hundred miles that we've been training for. So let's start from back to front, talk about the bags individually, and then get into what's in them. So the foundation of this whole setup is my Cobalt Warhawk, which you've seen on the channel. Now the few things that have changed from it are going to be the drivetrain, which you've hopefully watched my review of converting this into a 12-speed setup with the ratio technology 11-speed ratchet with the Garbrook 10 to 52 tooth cassette. I then have a new item that I'm going to be doing a review for is the SIGI direct mount power meter, and that is coupled with a 34 tooth front ring, which I know is very small, but honestly I didn't want to just buy a chain ring just for this trip with a ratio I probably wouldn't like. And with the 34 and the 10 tooth in the back, I'm still able to do about 27 to 28 miles an hour at 90-ish cadence. So I figured, honestly, with how long this trip's going to be, anytime I'm going to be going over that speed, I'm probably going downhill, and I'm fine to coast when we're doing 8 days straight. So then that's going to lead me into my rear bag. And this is totally a Amazon special for a saddlebag. I had a Roswheel one that I was going to end up using, but I actually found that I had torn it since I've been using it X amount of miles and multiple rides. So luckily my buddy Mario had a spare one of these and he's let me borrow it. I don't know the exact make and model, but I put it in the description below if you're interested, and have the direct Amazon link for that. This is essentially going to be my suitcase and house everything that I hopefully will not need to get into during the ride. Everything going forward, I wanted to pack so that if there are anything I suspect I'm going to be using, especially clothing for warm weather or cold weather, that's going to be stuff I want easily accessed. This I want to stay basically packed and hopefully not have to get into it unless the weather drastically changes or something catastrophic does. So I'm going to pull everything out here and then show you everything that I have. So how I pack this bag is essentially the things at the bottom are the last things I'm probably going to need to get out of it at the end of the day. And if you haven't watched the first two parts of this series to explain the trip overall, go watch those later. But essentially we are doing this trip and staying at hotels every night, so we don't need to carry tents or anything like that. So we are pretty light duty, if you've noticed. So off the bike, and potentially for an extra warm layer, I'm going to start with my Giro overshorts. These are going to be great for casually wearing, obviously off the bike, and if it does get cold or is cold in the morning, I can just put these over my standard bib shorts that I'll be wearing for this trip. After that, I have my favorite chrome merino wool t-shirt. This is great because it is, again, going to be used as an extra layer if need be, worst case scenario when riding. But since it is merino wool, it's not going to smell. I've tested this, trust me, thoroughly, and do have a review for this on the channel as well. This is going to just be a great item that just won't get smelly and stinky when riding it multiple days. And we are trying to pack as light as possible, and this is obviously a big convenience factor. I also be carrying an extra pair of underwear. As far as what's going to be packed in the back, I am going to be putting my long sleeve jacket in there, which is a Shimano unit. I do really like this jacket. It's light enough as far as packability wise, but it does vent pretty well so I don't overheat. But this is going to be something where there is a possibility that we might have some drizzle or rain one of the days. So I think this, coupled with my vest that I'll be showing you later, I think will be enough as far as like water resistance, I hope, and then putting an overshort on if need be. I have a thin pair of arm warmers. I'm pretty warm as far as up top goes when I'm riding my bike. I'm more likely going to need my knees warm more so than my upper body because I do tend to overheat pretty easily. So I just have a thin pair to add in underneath my jacket if need be, or combine this with a vest when it's not as cold in the morning. Then we have my little grab bag, which is going to basically consist of a set of work gloves and a toothbrush for our chains to clean at night if it does get gunked up during the day, as well as my travel toothbrush and a set of earplugs, as well as a bottle of chain lube. And I am going to be doing a review for this. I've really liked this stuff. This is Bicycle Hardcore's chain butter, and this stuff has been great so far, and I will be obviously mentioning my thoughts on this after the trip. So after the saddlebag, The only other items that may or may not be going into the saddlebag are a set of thermal knee warmers that I'm going to be bringing. I'm most likely going to be wearing those a majority of the trip because of the temperature range. It's going to be about high 50s to mid 60s most of the day for the entire trip, so I'm probably going to be leaving those on majority of the time because my knees are pretty sensitive from torn ligaments and other old injuries. The last item that I am storing up front in my handlebar bag is my Giro reflective vest. I really like this vest and I use it a lot. It does draw a lot of attention, and so especially being on the road for a majority of this trip, this is going to be crucial, and it's something that I can see myself wanting to get and use more often during the trip because of the weather range, so that's why it's going to live in my handlebar bag. And since we're already in there, let's see what else I have currently in there. And this is going to be my battery solution as well as my charging cable options that I'm going to be bringing with me. So these I wanted to leave in there so that I have quick access to them when we're making stops or eating or on the side of the road. If I do need to quickly charge something, either with my 5,000 milliamp ultralight battery or physically plugging it into the wall, I want to have quick access so I'm not digging through my saddlebag every single time we make a pit stop to top off any charging of my cameras or my cell phone or the GPS or lights, just so we can quickly get through that. And I wanted to go with a minimalistic charging setup, and I think this actually works pretty well to cover all my devices. Now, it's not the fastest charging setup, but I think it'll work pretty well. Essentially, this is a 2-port Anker wall charger. The big thing with me is I wanted one that had retractable plug socket so that it doesn't get damaged in the frame bag when riding. Then I have this multi-charger cable. It has one USB to charge it. It has one micro USB, 2 USB-Cs, and 2 iPhone cables. This is just a real convenient way to carry multiple cables and use just one basically wall socket or plug. And then because I do have a lot of micro USB charge devices, I do have another split cable so that essentially I have 2 USBs going into my power port on the Anker plug to charge all my devices pretty much all at once. And since I have 2 ports on my USB battery bank, I can use this to charge everything again. So I wanted to have a system that was just utilizing 2 USBs. Now I know that's not going to charge as fast because they're not dedicated cables, but we'll see if that decision was poorly made after the ride. This is my Kai Venture all-day handlebar bag that I'm going to be bringing with, and I do have my Nog LED light up front to run as my daytime running light. Then I'm going to be coupling that with my Kai Venture snack caddy on this side. This is just going to be my grab bag. There's nothing physically in here, but obviously snacks and just loose items. This thing does expand and contract pretty well, and I plan to utilize that on the trip for things to be easy to go. Then we have my DIY modified Revlet top tube tank bag, which is going to have snacks at the ready as well as my Osmo Pocket. This is going to be the main camera I wanted to bring with to do a video for the entire trip. This thing's great, has good battery life, and I can charge it while it's in there if need be with my battery bank and cable to top it off during if I end up exhausting the battery, since you cannot put another battery into this. This will probably have random snacks and things I want to get quick access to, as well as the salt pills that I like taking instead of doing drink mix in my bottles. And then on the top side here, I have my RN1500 light from Olight, and I do have an affiliate link with a discount code I'll put in the description below. This is going to be what I'm going to bring in for this trip, coupled with my daytime running light. This I don't expect us to really need to use that often, so this probably will live in my handlebar bag, but I may use it as an additional flasher if the traffic is really bad. But this has great battery life at the lower outputs. It does do about an hour and a half at 1500, but I don't think we're going to be needing that ever. So I can either run it all day on flash or use it on the lower 2 settings if, for whatever reason, we're riding more at night. Then I have my Kai Venture Maglock Caddy. This is going to basically house my point and shoot as well as a few other little accessories for micro SD cards. This just having everything kind of all in one bag is what I've really wanted, and I wanted to bring a point and shoot because I do honestly like shooting with a real camera, and this is my smallest and lightest weight setup that I can bring with to shoot some photography, just to remember this trip and how crazy it's going to be, and then document some extra stuff for high quality Instagram pictures. Then after that, we're on to the middle of the bike. This is where I am testing out the outer shell frame bag. This is their small size. This thing works great for compact geometry frames, and I even have a ton of food in here, random bonk breakers, cookies, trail mix, fig bars. And so this is going to be the majority of the food that I'm going to be taking. That's going to be either something where I'm going to be eating it while stopped, and less quick food when we're out riding or if we're filling up at a store. So that's predominantly what's going to live in here, and probably a set of gloves. Other items like I want quick access to, like gloves that I want to be able to access or throw somewhere while riding, since the handlebar bag with my front mount is easy to do, but if that thing is full, then this is going to be my secondary unit to place items into. Then we have my Rocky Mountain Little Cheese, which I just recently did a review for on the channel. This thing's awesome. Basically, this is my entire saddle bag. that you'd normally carry on your bike. So this is gonna have my tool roll, basically including 2 turbo Litos, a multi-tool, my standard CO2 and pump, as well as a mask for when we do go into stores, so I have quick access to it on the bike. Water, I'm using some Amazon special side mount cages. These are 2 21-ounce Camelbacks. These are insulated, and they do have the dirt caps on there just in case the road grime is real bad. I like that. As far as on the bike, I'm going to be doing a review for the red, white bib shorts, cargo shorts that I'm hopefully going to have in time here to ride on this trip. Those are my favorite long distance bib shorts, period, and I've done a review for them years ago, and that original set still works, and that was what I was going to use. I did reach out to them, and they did have some new cargo shorts that I want to show you guys during the trip that have awesome integrated pockets on the side and on the back in 2 sections. So those are going to be my ideal shorts. Every single night when we're done riding, me and Mario are basically just going to wash and dry out everything right when we get to the hotel, and then wear the same kit the next day. Because realistically, if we brought an extra pair of kit, you're essentially doing the same thing, so why not just simplify it and have one jersey and kit. I'm going to bring a base layer as well and keep everything simple. And with obviously most modern moisture wicking materials, they dry out pretty quickly, and I've never had an issue when doing that traveling. When I was working before, when I'd go to a hotel, I'd bring one kit with me for the week and just rinse it and wash it every single night, and it worked out fine for me. And again, we're trying to be as minimal and as efficient as possible for this trip. So that's it. If there's anything else that I might have left out, please comment in the comments below and I'll make sure to answer them. I check my comments every single day. If you haven't subscribed, please do and turn notifications on. I am going to be doing this trip literally in about, I think, exactly a week. We leave for San Fran when this video is posted live. So make sure to check the links below. If you're watching this after March 6th, I will have a spot tracker link in there if you want to join the ride, socially responsible distance, or with your mask on. I'm going to be having that so you can live track where we're at for the ride, as well as if you haven't watched the other 2 parts, please do to find out more about this trip. I really wanted to document this little mini series because I did notice that there's not a lot of videos out there that are documenting this trip and giving you a lot of explanation or how people are accomplishing it or what the route's really like. Most of them are real short, and so I wanted to show off every part of this, from the route to the bike setup and then obviously the ride itself. So I hope you really like that. So hopefully this goes well and the video turns out awesome. I'm super nervous and super excited, so I'd really appreciate it if you could give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to be posting on there regular, especially during the trip if you, again, do want to say hi, as well as you can help support me on this trip. It does mean a lot to me. I do have some locked in merch in my Spreadshirt, as well as on Patreon, where I offer one-on-one cycling consultations for my top 2 tier levels, well, which I will be doing after this trip is over. So I hope you like this video, and thanks for watching another episode of Locked In.
Let's get locked in today. Bike tutorials.